Writers are supposed to write what they know. In this video, I'm going to speak about what I know, and that's reentry and addiction. You know, because both go hand in hand to me, as well as recovery. But without the latter, I wouldn't be here today. You know, because in April 5th, 1995, that's when I stopped drinking and using and doing all the crazy things I did that had always led me to prison. And then I had that moment of clarity one day, and I just knew what I had been doing wasn't working. I was able to look back at my life and saw everything I gave up because of my problems with addiction. And you know, it was one thing would always lead to another for me. You know, I could smoke pot, I could do okay, and you know, I could drink, I could do okay, but ultimately I end up being loaded, and I decided to do other substances such as cocaine, or you know, some type of opiate, or LSD, anything else I could get my hands on. And so to have a new life, I had to get rid of the old. And the way I did that, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I finally was able to humble myself enough to ask for help and then begin to do something about it. You know, so I went through the therapy approach, and I was blessed with having someone who I grew to trust, and that made the world of difference. I knew she had my best interest in mind. I could tell her things that was against the prison policy, and I didn't go to the hole for it. You know what I mean? So I kind of established the trust with her in that regard, and we went through a long process, and you know, I'm very grateful for her today. You know, I would love to be able to be in contact with her, but you know, it just wasn't meant to be. But the point is you know, miracles happen. You know, when the teacher is ready, or excuse me, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And in that case, I was a student, she was a teacher, and it changed my life. And it was not an easy process, but you know, in retrospect, later on, once I become a member of 12-step programs, then I knew what she had been doing was taking me through the 12 steps of, you know, like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, just the 12-step programs. They've got a variety, but all of them are basically the same. You know, I had to admit I was powerless, and you know, my life was unmanageable. And that began the journey that got me to where I am today. You know, I spent a lot of years of my life locked in cages, and the reason was always the same. You know, because I had a serious problem with not being able to stop once I started getting high. As long as I could get away from being normal, I was okay. I hated it when I had to deal with myself. I hated the man in the mirror, and I was really out to kill him. It's only by God's grace I didn't succeed at doing it. You know, in one of my essays, The Search for Enlightenment, I tell a story in it where, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, it's just a miracle that I live to tell the story. You know, so fast forward to August the 28th, 2018, when I walked out of the federal prison going to the halfway house, Dismas Charities in Atlanta. My life changed considerably. You know, there's a little name tag I had, and it was an ugly little name tag. My picture was terrible, and it don't mean much to most people, but it means a lot to me, because this right here is really where it all began. You know, see, it's a terrible picture, but you know, the point is, it's what was necessary, part of the process that led to me being here today to be able to, you know, share my story in the hope of helping to encourage and inspire others. You know, I had really got way out of control. I was not a good person. I'd become, you know, before my arrest, I'd become a dangerous person. And I needed to come to prison, or to go to prison. I'm not there now. thank God. But I needed to go there. God saved me from myself. If I hadn't have went, then I'd end up doing some really bad things, or bad things would happen to me. Or either way, I'm fortunate to have survived to, be able to be on here sharing my story. And whether I get any views or not, it doesn't matter. My hope is that the things I share will at least help one person to decide to change their life. Because my story shows that it's possible. Because I was very sick, I had very serious problems, but I changed my life, and today, now I've been out of prison almost 5 years, and that is a miracle, because I had never ever made it that far before. In between my last 2 sentences, I'd stayed out 3 years and 10 days, and then when I failed that time, I didn't see daylight again for 30 years and 10 days when I walked out the door and went to Dismas Charities. So it just, I was blessed for a lot of things to happen in my life, and wasn't things I wanted to go through, but everything worked the way it's supposed to work out. And for that, I'm truly grateful. And in my recovery, then I had to discard all the things that would hold me back. And one of the jokes about sponsorship is a guy asks his sponsor what all he needs to change, and the sponsor says, "Oh, not much, just everything." And for me, today I look back and most everything has changed, but that's what's given me the life I have today. If I hadn't made those changes, I wouldn't be here today sharing my story. And for those who need assistance, or need to find possible resources, it don't matter what state you're in the United States. Sue at fairshake.net, she has a whole list of different resources on her website, and you can go there, you can sign up free, you don't have to pay nothing. And for those who have money, that's a worthy cause to contribute to, because she does a lot of good stuff to help people. And throughout the years we've become friends, but I got involved with her while I was on the inside. So I know from experience that she really does want to help people. But at the end of this video, once I get back home, because right now I'm driving, I'm going to look at a house, which is another miracle. But once I get home and I can properly upload this video, then I'm going to add that resource and any other things I can come up with that might help returning citizen. In my blog on straightfromthepen.com, I did a series, Life After Release, where I shared, a lot of the things that I've been going through, and, parts of my re-entry process. The whole point is, it works. Anybody, if they truly want to get out and succeed, they can do it. It just got to get rid of a lot of the BS that gets stored in our minds while we're in. We got to get rid of all the little ways that we learn to survive in there and learn better ways. Because if we apply the same principles out here that we learned in there to stay safe, it'll put us right back where we learned them. And that's what I had to do. I had to make a whole lot of changes. And I always express my gratitude, and I am grateful. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity to be able to take time and, share parts of my story. But if anybody receives any help from this, please let me know. It means a lot, and it will motivate me to do more of these type of videos. Thank you.